Have you ever found yourself worrying about what other people think of you, your decisions, how you raise your kids, who you want to be with, how you live your life? Have you found yourself over explaining to people just so that they understand what it is and why you're doing what you're doing? Have you found yourself replaying conversations over and over again because you're trying to understand whether or not someone is upset with you? Listen, sis, you are not alone. And I really want to dive deep into that today. And I want to talk about why you're still seeking everyone's approval. Okay. So before we get started, hey girl, hey, I am Stacy Crawley and welcome to Becoming Her. I am a transformational coach, speaker, and author, and I help faith driven women essentially reclaim their confidence, their clarity, their purpose, their worth, and become the woman that God created them to be. Okay, so I'm so glad that you're here. Let's get started. All right, so let me just get kind of give you guys a story. I was talking to my daughter, it's my oldest daughter. I was talking to her. I believe it was last week, and we had a conversation, and she came to me, and I love the fact that she's able to come to me and open up. And she's in middle school, and so that's a really rough age for kids, and trying to be in a position where they fit in. And so my daughter was crying because she was trying to figure out a way where she felt like she didn't fit in with her friends. She felt like certain music that they liked she didn't like, and vice versa. She felt like they were starting to kind of drift apart. And she was telling me, Mommy, I don't feel like I relate to my friends anymore. And I'm trying to figure out a way to fit in. I'm, I don't know what to do. And it's really hurting me because I really like them and I want to continue being their friend. And of course, me being who I am, I sat her down and I said, Listen, sweetheart, there will be people in life who understand you and get you, and there will be some people who don't. There will be people who have an opinion about every single thing that you do, and that's okay because everyone is entitled to their opinion, and you don't have to fit in. You don't have to get anyone else's approval or permission to be you, to be your authentic self. And if those people don't like you or the choices that you make or who you are or just different things about you, it's their loss. And so I think a lot of us we don't understand is that, or we do understand, but a lot of us are conditioned even from childhood to seek validation from other people, to get other people's approval of who we are in order to make us feel comfortable with ourselves. Okay? So I know growing up that I was in a position where I guess subconsciously I was taught that I needed to seek other people's approval because I was bullied so much. And thank God my daughter isn't going through that. And it was for me to go during middle school. I remember growing up and being bullied and constantly criticized, excuse me, for just my own differences and being different. And what I realize now is that it's better to be different and to be your own self because that's how you shine. That's how people get to know the real you. And if people like the real you, then fantastic. If they don't, fantastic. It's a win-win. That's how I see it, right? So I want to get into point number one. Let's get into one of the reasons why you're still seeking approval. Like I said, um, one of the things is you doubt yourself consistently. Okay. And so we have to kind of dig deep and figure out, where did that come from? Right? Were there things in childhood where your voice was um, dismissed? Were you in a position where people constantly made you feel like what you had to say didn't matter, that your voice didn't matter, and that you kind of just needed to be seen and not heard? Have you been in that position? Instead of trusting yourself, you've learned to seek others' approval to essentially um, make yourself feel better, or to you look at their approval as the approval that you have for yourself. Okay, so you essentially got to a point where you started to look at yourself through the eyes of other people, which is a very dangerous space to be in. Okay. This leads to you second guessing your own decisions in life, and that goes into adulthood. You ever found yourself in a place where you constantly ask other people their opinion? I mean, multiple people their opinion on a situation that you've gone through. I know I have. I won't lie, I've been there. And that this is something that I definitely had to work on over the years as I went through my own healing journey of not seeking validation from other people. So I would go to a place where I would ask multiple people about a situation to get different people's opinions so that I can formulate some type of, I guess, consolidated answer, or advice to kind of, I guess, make my own based on that, which is not good at all. Okay. It's good to get advice from wise counsel, but to go to multiple people, that means that you don't trust your own voice. You don't trust your own decisions. Okay. Because somewhere along the line, you stop believing you can trust yourself. Okay. So, point number two, you're afraid of disappointing people. You are afraid of, in your mind, what the consequence, right, might be, if you say no, if you say, I don't want to do that, or I'm going to do this instead of that. You are afraid of disappointing other people based on your own differences. Okay. You feel a certain way or feel selfish when you're setting boundaries with people. And boundaries are so important. A lot of people think that boundaries are like a punishment, but it really is to maintain your peace, specifically your peace of mind, your peace around your energy, around your space, because there are so many people in your life that will drain that from you and leave you so depleted, and they're gone on about their day. Okay. So when you get to a place where you're able to set boundaries and stick to those boundaries, then you won't worry about whether or not they are quote unquote selfish, because you are putting yourself first, not selfish, but putting yourself first in order to take care of yourself, in order to love on yourself. Okay. You carry the weight of making everyone else happy because you're afraid they will reject you if you don't. If you grew up in a space where you felt rejected all the time for being different, if you felt like you had to fit in, if you felt like you had to go along to get along, then you will feel some level of abandonment or rejection, right? If you don't do those things. So we're going to work on that. Okay. Your word number three, your worth has become tied to what other people think. So what do I mean by that? When people compliment you, it makes you feel valuable instead of you looking at it as icing on the cake, because you already feel that way about yourself. Right. So when you have built your self-esteem up so much, because sometimes along the way, I mean, when I say that, I mean in life, a lot of things can beat us down. It could beat down our self-esteem, our self-confidence. It could beat us down so bad so that we don't even see ourselves that way. And even when people give us compliments, sometimes, okay, so quick example, one of my cousins, every time I see her, I will call her, hey, beautiful, how are you doing? And she would just be like, oh, don't say that. Don't say, like just very shy away, like, don't say that. And it's just like, accept the compliment. That just let me know that she was dealing with her own, internal issues. And so I knew that. And so that's why I kind of, because I love to encourage people. So I would just do it, just to build her up. But compliments make you feel valuable when people say it. But that's amazing to get compliments, but work on yourself to the point where you know that, hey, I already feel this about myself. I'm glad you see that. Thank you, girl. I appreciate it, but I'm good, right? And I appreciate that you see that within me. Criticism makes you question yourself. Okay, so when anybody is giving you some level of, hopefully, what is the word that I'm trying to say? Not healthy criticism. What is the constructive criticism? When people tell you something constructively, you take it as an attack. Okay. So, or you question yourself when they're just trying to make you see things from a different perspective. And that can be something that is kind of the underlying. Sometimes we don't realize that there's an iceberg on the top, but there's a lot of things kind of underneath that surface that are driving our behaviors, our thoughts, and our emotions. Okay. So with you, your worth being tied to what other people think, approval from other people feels like, oh, I'm enough. I'm good, when you should already know within yourself that you are enough. The Bible talks about who you are and how God sees you, and that should be enough. Okay? People's opinion, the problem with constantly worrying about what people think is that people's opinions change all the time. when as the wind blows, people will their opinions about things will change based on different things that are going on in their life. Okay. So if your identity is built on other people's approval, your confidence will always feel unstable. Okay. Number 4, you are still living from old survival patterns. Maybe you grew up in an environment where you felt like love was conditional, meaning that you only got praise or acknowledgement when you were doing something good. And you didn't have people around you that loved you through the good, the bad, the ugly. They only looked at you for what you can give them, what they can get from you. And it was only, like I said, conditional. Maybe criticism was common in your household where you were judged and critiqued on every little thing that you did, every decision that you made, every food choice, every B that you got, right? Every C that you got. You were judged for it instead of being pulled in and nurtured and supported and guided in a way where you were able to be uplifted. All right. Those habits protected you, and maybe they kept the peace for a period of time, but it stifled you. Right. And so what we think is that keeping these things, that these survival modes and survival tactics that we utilize to help keep us safe, we don't realize that it's actually destroying our peace and keeping us stuck. Okay. What once helped you survive may no longer be helping you thrive in your life. All right. Number 5, you have forgotten who God says that you are. When you don't know your identity, you'll look to other people to define it for you. Okay. You'll chase acceptance. You'll chase validation. You'll chase recognition. And dare I say, as a high achieving woman, very ambitious woman, I did not realize that, and this is not for all women who are very highly ambitious and high achieving, but I know for me in particular, I know that though I have a drive to succeed in life, I definitely know that a lot of that was driven by my need to feel validated, my need to feel worth and to feel valuable. And I figure like if I did all these things, then I would be considered enough, right? I would be enough to other people. And so that was something that was hard for me, something that I know that I had to kind of dig below the surface and figure out for myself, because I just thought that I just wanted to be successful, right? So because you're searching for something only God can truly give you, okay? Only God can give you fulfillment. There are so many things in our lives, our hobbies, our families, um, our careers, our businesses, whatever those things are, our relationships, those things can give us fulfillment in a certain way. But in order to feel full fulfillment in life, it only truly comes from God. And only God can give that to you. Okay. The more secure you become in your identity in Christ, the less you'll need everyone else's approval. Okay. So going back to my daughter's story and my story as well, we have to remember that as kids, as we're growing up, as we become adults, there's so many things in life that will steal our joy, that will try to break us down, try to belittle us, try to make us feel less than, so that we are in a position where we are seeking validation and approval and defining our identity by other people's perceptions of us, when the whole time we should be seeking these things from God. These are tricks of the enemy, okay, that come to steal, kill, and destroy everything that God has already destined for you to experience, destined for you to live, destined for you to walk in. And so I want to encourage you today, okay, to stop seeking other people's approval and to only seek the approval of God and how he sees you, and allow God to define you. And if there are people in your life who don't understand you, because there will be people committed to misunderstanding you. Okay, let me just say that. Other people's opinions of you are their business and their business alone. It has nothing to do with you. As long as God sees you in a specific light and God knows your heart and know who you are, and you start to see yourself through the lens of God and how he sees you, what other people think, how other people perceive you, how other people experience you has no bearing on what you experience within yourself. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter the boundaries that you put in place and if they don't like them. It doesn't matter if they don't approve of certain decisions that you've made in your life, because guess what? They don't have to live with them. They don't have to live with the person that you chose to be with. They don't have to live or operate in the business that you chose to do or the career that you chose to be in. They don't have to worry about how you're raising your kids. Okay? So again, I want to encourage you to seek God's approval, to seek God's um God's a perspective on who you are. Take some time today to read your Bible. All right? Really get into your Bible and understand how God sees you, and set and define your identity on him and how he sees you. So I'm so glad that you are here. I hope that you got some level of encouragement today. Some I hope you got something out of this. And if you did, please share this with someone that you know that needs to hear this message as well. I wanted to say also that a lot of times we don't realize that we need to do the inner work. There's a lot of things that we have under the surface that's bubbling up, and we don't even realize it, and it shows up in different capacities. But sometimes we need to do that self-discovery work, that work that really makes us sit and think and to really reflect on, who am I? What do I want? What do I need to do in my life? How do I need to change things? Do I need to set any boundaries? There's so many different things, right? Am I worrying about people pleasing? Am I worrying about how I am being perceived by others? Am I confident in who God called me to be? Do I feel worthy? Do I feel valuable? And if those are questions that you're constantly asking yourself, if you feel lost, if you don't know who you are, if you have been struggling with that, I have a guide. It's a free guide, and it's a self-discovery guide. It's 5 questions to help you really get to the core of who you are and to really become the woman, to get on a journey of becoming the woman that God created you to be. Okay. Thank you again so much for being here. I hope you leave me comments down below and let me know what you thought of this, and let me know if there are things in your life maybe that you need to work on, and whether or not you are working on not seeking the approval of others. Okay. So leave me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on why you think people still seek other people's approval. And yeah. I couldn't think of anything else. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.